Well, good evening, everyone, and a beautiful one it is up here in northern Idaho. And welcome to this evening's professional development session entitled Creating Instructional Video for Your Students Using Screencasting. This is probably my oldest and most favorite professional development session I've ever done. I've been teaching this for over 20 years on and off. It is one of my favorite instructional technology techniques. It's one of the most powerful and useful applications of instructional technology that I know. And it's very easy to learn and generally free to do, to implement. So this is one, as I say, one of my favorite sessions. So let me go ahead and get my PowerPoint up here. Creating powerful instructional videos for your students through screencasting. Well, before we can do that, we got to know what screencasting is, right? So let's get to that. What is it? It's real simple. Using certain software tools, which are very easy to use, you can record your computer screen in full motion so that in the recording, you see everything that happens on your screen. And as you go through a series of operations or a series of screens, a series of websites, whatever, the video experience for the person who watches the recording is identical, more or less, better actually, than what they'd have if they were standing behind you and looking at your computer monitor while you were doing stuff on your computer. And in most cases, a screencast recording will also include a voiceover, you talking about what you're doing and explaining what your students or your clients are seeing on the screen as you move through some process or some application. In order for your students, your clients to access these videos, these screencasts, screen movies, screen recordings, all mean the same thing. They have to be put online somewhere where they can be hosted, so that your students can find them and click on a link to them and then see and hear the recording play back for them. And we have a number of options for that. And as we go through tonight and look at the various screencasting tools, we'll talk about how you can get your recordings online and share them with your students. This is particularly powerful. It's a very simple idea, but it's especially powerful because it means that your students can access these videos anytime from anywhere, assuming they're connected to the internet, from any kind of computing device. They can be viewed on computers, desktop computers, laptop computers, smartphones, tablets, iPads, whatever kind of computing device the student might be using to connect to the internet. These videos can be played on, and the students can watch them, listen to them. They can watch them as often as they like. They don't have to watch them in their entirety in one sitting. They can pick up where they left off and move on. They can stop the video and take notes or think about what they've just seen and heard. They can rewind and play things again and again if there's some concept that they're having trouble with. So this is exceptionally powerful instruction. And research bears that out. One study I've seen says that students typically remember 80% of what they've seen and heard in a video at the end of a week. the number wasn't that high if they just read what you were trying to get across to them. Not nearly that high. It's a great way to impart and explain complicated concepts, processes, and it's just an incredibly powerful instructional tool. And you can do all sorts of things with it. There are all sorts of different types of screencasts that you can create. The technique was originally developed with software training tutorials in mind, where you show someone how to use Microsoft Word, or how to use Canvas, or how to use Zoom, which is a very valuable thing to be able to do. But you can do an awful lot more than that with screencasting. You can record your PowerPoint lectures. You know, it's one thing to provide your students with a link to your PowerPoint file, your slide deck in Canvas, and that's useful, but most of the information that's provided during a PowerPoint lecture, a PowerPoint presentation, is in the narration, is in what you say, not what's on the slide. The slides are usually just talking points and something to give structure to the presentation, which is a nice way of saying, in my case, to prevent you from forgetting something that you meant to say, which it usually does for me. That's how I'm using PowerPoint here. We can also, so you can record your PowerPoint lectures and put those video recordings into Canvas as links, and the students can get basically the same experience that they would get if they saw and heard you deliver the PowerPoint lecture in the classroom, with all of the information provided in the narration. And if you do it in such a way that they can see you at the same time, which you can do in most screencasting tools, then they'll also get your gestures, your facial expressions, your posture, all those nonverbal cues that so help with understanding in a lecture like that. So the PowerPoint narration recordings are some of the most powerful screencasts there are. But you can do website tours. There are websites on the internet covering every subject you can imagine, and quite a few you can't. And many of those are in your field. And you can pull up those websites and narrate a tour through the website, showing students how to, or pointing out places where students need to look, and highlighting the information that you want them to extract from that website. So those are useful. You can do whiteboarding or broadcasting recordings, where you record what you would normally write on a whiteboard and talk about it at the same time. And that's an important part of any instructional experience, especially in STEM fields, the science, technology, engineering, math fields, or economics, anywhere where you have to draw pictures and graphs and equations and mathematical symbols. It's very difficult to do that on the computer, but there are techniques, screencasting techniques that you can do that will make that much easier and very effective in, say, a Zoom class meeting, or a recording that the students can view online on demand at their own convenience. You can also provide feedback to students. If students have turned in assignments on Canvas, you can pull those up and record your grading process. Explain to them why they got the grade they did, giving them information that will help them do better next time and help fill in holes in their understanding that they've demonstrated in their submissions. Very important type of screencast. And lots more things. You're only limited by your imagination, because you can record in a screencasting, with a screencasting tool, you can record anything that comes up on your computer screen. And you can say anything you like about what you're recording. So that gives you tremendous flexibility in designing instructional video materials for your students. And as I'm hoping to convince you tonight, it's really easy to do. And it basically won't cost you anything in most cases to do it, except, of course, the time it takes to create those. But screencasts, screencast videos, screen recordings can save you an immense amount of time over a period of time, because they answer that old question, which all of us have asked on a bad day sometime. I wonder how many more times I'm going to have to explain that before I die. And the answer, if you record a screencast that captures that explanation, the answer might be once, only one more time, just enough to make the screencast. And then after that, you can just refer the students to the screencast, send them a link in an email, or put a link in a discussion post in Canvas, or post it in a module in Canvas. And you don't have to explain that live ever again. You probably will, but you can certainly cut down the number of times you'll have to do that before your demise. So it has the potential to save an incredible amount of time, as well as increasing students' access to high-quality instructional materials. High-quality instructional materials that you create yourself. Students are much more likely to watch an instructional video if they know you, the person who's going to be assigning their grade, created it, because they know it means something to you. They know it's relevant to your instructional practices and what's going to be on the test. So students are much more likely to watch these things if you create them, even though you can maybe you could find one on YouTube or somewhere else on the web that was slicker, and in my case, the people making the recording would be a lot prettier and a lot younger. But students would still rather see you and hear you and watch what you put online, because they know you think that's what's important. All right, next slide. So that's the verbiage description of screencasting, but let me practice what I preach here and play for you a little video that I created for an online course that describes and illustrates what screencasts look like. Let me share that screen, being sure to share sound, because I'm going to be playing a video. And let's see, that's that one right there. I'll share that. You should be seeing my what is screencasting video here. If I click on that and okay, and so what is screencasting anyway? Well, it's a really simple idea. You do something on your computer screen. You show your students how to do something or illustrate some concept in your course, and you talk about it as you're showing them things on your computer screen. And in a screencast, you record this. You get a video file that you can put online and share with your students, so the students can play this back anytime they want, as often as they want. They can stop it and start it and rewind it until they get what you're trying to say. This is a tremendous instructional capability. And it's something that you do in the classroom all the time, except maybe you don't record it in the classroom. In this case, you can use a screencasting tool, a software tool, to record what you're showing the students on the screen and what you're talking and your voiceover to that. And they can access it anytime, anywhere. That's real instructional power. And you're limited only by your imagination as to the range and type of subject matter that you can cover in a screencast. Just a few suggestions include things like software tutorials. That's what screencasting was originally developed to do, to show someone how to use a piece of software or a website or something like that. You can even do mobile device tutorials of this nature. You can capture the screens on your mobile devices. You can do how-tos for software like Canvas or Zoom. A really common application of screencasting is a PowerPoint narration, where you run through your PowerPoint slides and you narrate them on the screen, and you capture that, both your voiceover and the slides, so that your students can get basically the same experience that they would get in the classroom, anytime, anywhere, at their convenience. It's so much more powerful and so much more functional than just putting your slide deck on Canvas. You can provide feedback on complex assignments to students in Canvas or other venues, so that they get a really rich feedback experience, comparable to them coming to your office and sitting down with you and going over the paper that they've submitted. You can do problem sessions where you work problems, scientific problems, mathematical problems, and record that process, not just showing them the solution, but showing them the process so that they can better understand how to do it themselves. You can do website tours and pull up sections of websites that deal with your particular subject matter and do a voiceover on them, illustrating the concepts in your course. And there are lots of other things I'm sure that you can think of to do with a screencast. Screencasting tools are... Okay, I'm going to stop that. We're going to go on to talk about screencasting tools live. Just I didn't think I could do that business of sliding between different types of screencasts and so on any better live than I could do it in the recording. So I reused that recording. I really don't have to do that particular explanation too many more times before I expire, because I've got a screencast of it. Incredibly. Okay. So let's move on to the next slide here. So the question becomes, I hope I've established the power and the desirability of creating screencasts. Now let's talk about how to do it in practical terms. And all but one of the tools I'm going to show you here tonight that will produce screencasts are free, at least to you. In a couple of cases, somebody paying for them, but you don't have to. There's one that doesn't fit that definition, but I put it in because it's probably the best one around, and I'll just mention it. But we're going to concentrate on the free stuff, or at least free to you. And the first one we're going to talk about is Zoom, because Zoom is one of the most powerful screencasting tools I know. And I use it all the time for that purpose. Another screencasting tool we're going to talk about is a completely free screen recorder and editor called Clipchamp, which is put out, Microsoft owns it now. I think they bought it from the people who developed it, but It's a fascinating little program. It's my current favorite among free video creation tools. And it contains a very powerful video editor, which is for which the learning curve is quite gentle and which is really accessible in terms of being able to get to it and use it. We also have, associated with our Canvas learning management system, a video hosting service and creation tool called Canvas Studio. And in Canvas Studio, there is a screencast recorder or a screen recorder application we can use. And Canvas Studio is probably the easiest way to get your screencast, creating your screencast in Canvas Studio, gives you the easiest path and the quickest path to getting your screencast online and sharing it with your students. So it's definitely worth a look. My particular favorite, oh my gosh, just realized I didn't switch back to here. So there they are. Zoom. So far we've talked about Zoom, Clipchamp, Canvas Studio. And the next one is called OBS, or Open Broadcaster Studio. I'm not going to belabor this too much because this is one of the more complex options. It is, however, completely free, and it's what allows me to do this. That's a live, that's not a Zoom background. That's a live shot out my back window. Notice the sunset is getting dimmer and dimmer. That's real time.
You are lucky.
I am very lucky. Very lucky to find this place, but also very lucky to have found OBS, which allows me to share things like this with you. OBS also has screen recording capability. And once you have OBS set up, it's probably the easiest and quickest way to screencast that there is. There are very few extra. It's like one click, one button, and bang, you're screencasting. And finally, we're going to mention briefly Camtasia, which is the Cadillac, the Lexus of screencasting tools. It's the best one out there. It's from a company called TechSmith that almost invented this technique. Camtasia has been around in one form or another since 1998, I think. So it's one of the oldest tools, but it's been constantly upgraded and is by far the most powerful and functional screencasting tool there is. It just ain't free. So there they are. Those are the ones we're going to talk about. Zoom, Clipchamp, Canvas Studio, OBS, and Camtasia. Let's move on. Let's start with Zoom, because Zoom is something we do all the time, right? We are holding Zoom sessions with our students, in many cases, several times a week. We're in Zoom meetings all the time still. So most of us are pretty familiar with starting up a Zoom meeting and hosting it. If you're not, we have seminars for that too. But let's assume you have started up a Zoom meeting with your students, a Zoom class meeting, or a help session, or an optional information session with your students. If your course is not classified as online live, which is the new classification, where students have to attend Zoom meetings at a certain time. But Zoom is something, it's been a huge part of our lives, at least since March of 2020. I've been using Zoom since 2012 when it first came into beta. And it's, it's been a part of my life ever since then. So how do we screencast in Zoom? Well, we just do two things. We hit the record button and we share our screens. I'm screencasting right now. though I'm sharing my screen with you in a little bit different way, but I am screencasting using Zoom right now. These recordings of these professional development sessions are screencasts. They include some motion video, some camera video, mostly of me, or maybe of a video playing, but mostly they are computer screens that are recorded, and I'm doing something on the computer screen and I'm talking about it. That's a screencast. So with Zoom, screencasting is almost automatic. If you are recording your session and you're sharing your screen, you are screencasting. And very likely you're already doing this. The video and the audio quality of the recordings is quite good. It's not the best tool among all the ones we have for that. If you are sharing screens with lots of tiny print on them, that can be a problem in Zoom, though generally it's more than adequate. The quality is more than adequate. And in one particular case, it is absolutely the very best screencasting tool there is. And that was the situation I demonstrated when I played that video on the PowerPoint slide. If you are going to make a screencast during which you are going to play a video with sound, Zoom does a better job of that than any other screencasting tool I know, mainly because it completely eliminates what we call feedback, where there's some echo in the audio from the playing video and it makes it difficult to understand. Zoom does the best job I know of eliminating that sort of thing. So if you're going to make a screencast, and at some point during the screencast, when you're recording what's happening on your computer screen, you're going to be playing a video on your computer screen, Zoom is the very best tool for that. Also, you quite naturally create hybrid recordings, which are both screencasts and regular video, motion video. Like right now, you're seeing me and you're seeing the PowerPoint slides at the same time, and you're seeing me work through the PowerPoint slides. That's a hybrid video. Contains both screencasting and full motion video of whatever your camera is pointed at. And you sort of automatically do that in Zoom. And depending on what recording options you pick in Zoom, it's very easy to upload your recordings to the Zoom cloud. That's the default for our SDCCD Zoom Pro accounts. If you haven't gone to some trouble to set up the option to record locally, record your Zoom meetings to your local computer, you're going to be recording to the Zoom cloud, and it happens automatically. You don't have to do anything to make it happen, and you don't have to go to any trouble to put your recording online. Zoom does that for you automatically. If you record to the Zoom cloud, Zoom automatically puts your recording up in the cloud, and it even sends you the link to the recording and tells you when the recording is ready. So it's once you understand how to share your screen and record in Zoom, the Zoom becomes the easiest way to screencast there is, and the easiest way to complete the loop of creating the screencast and then putting it online and sharing it with your students. And if you record to your local computer, you also have the option to upload those recordings manually to Canvas Studio or YouTube. And there, in all three of those options, Zoom Cloud, Canvas Studio, YouTube, there's automatic captioning available. So you don't have to go to the trouble of captioning your videos. You might have to do a little bit of editing of the captions, but probably not. The captioning engines, the automatic captioning engines now that listen to your voice and convert your speech to text are so good that they rarely make mistakes. They're not perfect, but they're really good. So captioning is readily available. And that, of course, is critical because we may not use instructional videos that are not captioned, regardless of whether we have hearing impaired or otherwise special needs students from DSPS in our course. Doesn't matter. If you put a video online and use it for instructional purposes, it has to be captioned. No, there's one exception to that. And that's if you're sending the video, if you're sharing the video with only one person and you know that person is not hearing impaired, you can not caption that video and still use it. But it's still not a good idea because even when people don't absolutely need captions, they're good to have, particularly if, as is the case with so many of our students, English is not the student's mother tongue. Having the captions running makes it a lot easier for the student to understand our accent. Yes, we have accents too, all of us do. And understand the words we're saying in English, because we all read a second language long before we speak it and listen to it effectively. So having that captioning is absolutely critical, and it's real easy to get if you create your screencasts in Zoom. Actually, it's pretty easy to get in any of these cases, but it's especially easy if you record to the Zoom cloud because the captions show up automatically. You don't have to say boo to make that happen. You just know that when you record to the Zoom cloud, it will be captioned within a few hours anyway, automatically without you having to do anything about it. Okay. So, you know, I'd show you an example of that, but I'm showing you an example of that right now. I'm recording this presentation using Zoom, and that will be a hybrid video of both screencast and me. It's arguable how important it is to have me down there in the lower right-hand corner, but people seem to like it. Despite if I make myself small enough so you don't have to see me too big, you know, nobody over 40 should get a tight shot, a big tight shot on the screen. But it does add something to the presentation. Okay, so we're exemplifying this right now. Let's go on to the next tool and talk about that. Clipchamp is my newest enthusiasm in screencasting and video editing as well. Clipchamp is a totally free, if you accept the minor limitations of the free version, screencasting and editing tool. It combines the ability to record your computer screens with VoiceOver to create a screencast with the ability to edit that very seamlessly and with a minimal amount of extra effort, though you don't have to edit it. I like to refer to this as a gateway drug for screencasting, and I will warn you, this can be habit forming. I spend a healthy chunk of most of my working days screencasting because it's so effective and a way to answer questions and to provide instruction. And you just get sort of addicted to it. It can eat up vast amounts of time, strain relationships. Never heard of anybody actually succumbing to screencasting or needing Narcan as a result, but I wouldn't bet against it. You have been warned. With Clipchamp, also, there's no installation required, just like Zoom. You don't have to install anything on your computer. Actually, Zoom installs something on your computer and never bothers you about it. But Clipchamp, you don't even need to install anything. It's a so-called web app or cloud application. It runs in a web browser on your computer. And so most of the actual heavy code is executed on the servers on Clipchamp's on Microsoft's servers. So getting started with it is nothing much worse than just navigating to a website. We'll see that in a moment. This one I will demonstrate. It is super easy to learn and use. That's why I say it's the first one. The first one is free. It's the first one because it's about as simple as anything, with the possible exception of Zoom, because you probably already know how to use Zoom. But if you don't, Clipchamp's going to be easier to get started with in terms of screencasting than Zoom. It gives you high quality video and audio recordings, higher than you get if you record to the Zoom cloud. If you record to your local computer using Zoom, the video quality and audio quality are pretty close between Clipchamp recordings and Zoom local recordings. But still, Clipchamp's a little bit better. And that's important, particularly with the audio. People put up with the video that's a little fuzzy, but they won't put up with bad audio. It's way too distracting to listen to. So every bit of extra quality you can get on your recorded audio is worth it. And once you finish your recording in Clipchamp, it's immediately and automatically dropped into an excellent video editor, which means that if you need to cut something out of that recording, or you need to add something to it that you forgot, it's very easy and quick to do in Clipchamp. With Zoom, if something like that happens, let's say you do a Zoom recording and you realize when you get that recording back later that something happened that you don't want to share with the world or with your students. Maybe you dropped something on your foot and said one of the 7 words you can't use on TV. And you want to cut that out so that it doesn't show up in the final recording. You can do that exceptionally easily in Clipchamp. If you're going to do that in Zoom, you've got to either record to the local computer in the first place, or download the cloud recording from your Zoom cloud and load it into a video editor. Like, you can use Clipchamp for that as well. You can load files in that weren't created in Clipchamp. Or we'll see a couple other editors that you can use tonight. And then you've got to go through the editing process and the process of putting the video online to share. That is an exceptionally seamless process with Clipchamp. And once you have edited and once you have created your screencast and optionally edited it, if you decide you need to, often you won't need to, but if you've decided you need to, you've edited it, you can then both save the recording directly to your local hard drive as a standard video file, an MPEG-4, so-called MPEG-4 video file, the most standard and generally the best sort of digital video file. You can also more or less automatically, actually pretty automatically, upload it to YouTube, from whence it can be shared with your students. And you don't even have to learn the upload process to YouTube, the manual upload process for YouTube, which is pretty simple, but it's one less thing to have to worry about. While that's uploading to YouTube, you can be planning your next video. So let's take a look at it here. Whoop. Let's see Clipchamp in action. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. All we got to do to use Clipchamp is bring up a web browser. Most anyone will do. I'm using Edge, Microsoft Edge here. You could use Chrome, Firefox, Safari on the Mac. And all I have to do is go to the location line, the address line on the web browser, and type clipchamp, all one word, clipchamp.com. Clipchamp.com. Press enter. Here's Clipchamp. You get Fido there and their various little entertaining videos while you're thinking about it. All your video needs in one place. That's not as much hyperbole as a lot of advertising on the web. This thing really is a Swiss Army knife for creating, editing, and sharing instructional video. There's a button that says try for free. The first time out, you click that. I can't do that because I've already, obviously, I've used this before. I've already got an account. The account creation process is no more complex than most anything on the web, like signing up for Gmail or something like that. And you can link your Microsoft account to it so that typically if you're using a Windows computer, but quite probably now, even if you're using a Mac, you're probably logged in to your Microsoft account all the time that you're using your computer, because we've just all been gifted with Office 365, Microsoft's cloud-based Office suite. And in order to use that, we have to be logged into our Microsoft accounts. In order to use OneDrive to store our files, we have to be logged into our Microsoft accounts. So you can take Clipchamp and connect that with your Microsoft account in a very simple process. That's not surprising. It's simple because, as I mentioned earlier, Clipchamp is owned by Microsoft now. But once you do that one time, and if you should ever have any trouble with that, I'd be happy to help. The next time you go to Clipchamp, all you do is click login. And if you've linked it to your Microsoft account, boom, you go right into Clipchamp. This is what the Clipchamp opening page looks like. Don't worry about templates. Here are some videos, previous videos that I've worked with. So if you have videos that you've already created and edited in Clipchamp, you can access them from the opening page here. That brings up an important point about Clipchamp. You don't have to, while you'd probably want to, in most cases, finish your recording in one session. If you're editing your recording, you don't have to finish, you don't have to edit it right away, and you don't have to, or if you start editing it, you don't have to finish the edits in one session, because your Clipchamp projects, as they're called, will be accessible to you indefinitely in your Clipchamp account. Before I show you how to actually record and edit in Clipchamp, I'm going to mention this button here that says upgrade. And you know what that means. That means money. They want money. Microsoft wants money. There's a surprise. The good news is you can ignore that. I have. They charge some ridiculous amount of money, like $10 a month or something like that, if you upgrade the Clipchamp to the paid version of Clipchamp. And you know, it's a great little program. If I had to do that, I'd probably go ahead and do it, but I haven't found it necessary. The one major difference between free Clipchamp and paid Clipchamp is that with the free version, with the paid version rather, you have the opportunity to store your video files in the cloud. And by video files, I mean your raw video, your intermediate edits, various video clips that you may add into your video project can all be stored on the cloud. I don't want to do that. For one thing, the performance of the editor is not quite as good as if the files are stored on your local computer. So the one disadvantage, real disadvantage, I guess, to having the free Clipchamp is that if you're working in a particular project, you have to, and you want to come back to that project and work on it again later, you have to be on the same computer that you started it on. Doesn't mean you couldn't go to another computer and start a different project and work on that, but the same issue would apply. So I do almost all of my video work on one computer, the one I'm using right now. So this doesn't bother me a bit to use this for free. And there's a certain satisfaction in not paying Microsoft for this. We all pay enough to Microsoft one way or another. So though at least at the district, we're not having to pay for Office 365. They're giving the district is paying for that, remarkably enough. Anyway, so I don't have to upgrade to use this effectively. I've got two big blue buttons here at the top. I can click either one to get started. If I want to start recording, and I know I'm going to start recording, I can click the darker blue button. But I'm going to show you the other one, where it just says create a new video, start from scratch. That's probably the best way to get started. So I'm just going to create a new video. And within a few seconds, the Clipchamp interface comes up. And this is what Clipchamp looks like. This is the bulk of this is an editor interface, a video editor interface. You have a preview window here. You have a timeline here. You have a media bin over here. These are all standard features of a computer-based video editor, a so-called nonlinear video editor. But over here in this function bar on the left, or this icon bar, is an option to record and create video. So that's where I'll get started if I'm going to use Clipchamp for screencasting. When I click on that button, I'm asked what I want to do. Do I want to record both my screen and my webcam? Or just my webcam? Or just my screen? It also has a capability to convert text to speech, but that's just a little bit outside the scope of what we're talking about tonight. So I'd probably pick one of these three options. It's a little bit more complicated if you do screen and camera, but it's not terrible. So we'll just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to select record screen and camera. I get this little recorder. It offers me a coach. To that I say, don't need no coach. It does give you some good advice here. Make sure there's nothing in your teeth before you start. If you're recording your webcam and the webcam is pointed at you, that sort of indicates that you're going to be sitting down using this. There's another good piece of advice that's often given to new faculty members before they walk into a classroom, which you've probably, the males among you have certainly heard. That's not, they don't include that here. So I guess they assume you're going to be sitting down. Then hit the big red button. They don't, they don't try to make it jargon. They don't try to use jargon or make it sound impressive. It's hard to miss the big red button there. Choose a screen, a tab, or an app to record. We'll see what that looks like. And then when you're done, you can edit it if you want to, more or less automatically. All right, let's do a screencast recording. Well, the first thing I have to do is make sure if I'm going to use my screen or my webcam, rather, I have to have the right webcam selected here. I have several. Usually that's not going to be an issue. You're just going to have one. So I'm just going to leave that at this one. Also, you want to make sure that you've selected a microphone that's working. This is my default microphone. It's fine. I know. I'm using it right now with Zoom. You wouldn't be hearing me if it wasn't right. And somebody would have said something by now if you weren't hearing me. Though, if you have multiple microphones, or if for some reason you do a recording and there's no sound, then look here and make sure you've got a working microphone selected. So hit the big red button. Okay, boom. Now, you can record with ScreenChamp your entire computer screen. The reason you're seeing 4 rectangles here is I have 4 screens on this computer. At this point, you'd probably see 1 or maybe 2 screens, 1 or maybe 2 rectangles. Or I can record open windows, particular applications that I have running, or I can record particular tabs in Microsoft Edge. That's relatively rare. So my advice is always to record the entire screen to make sure that, if you change windows or applications in the middle of the recording, you don't lose what you don't avoid recording what you think you're recording, and you're having your students see what you're talking about. And you just pick the screen that you want to record. Let's see, I think I'm just going to show you how to create a simple software tutorial, Screencast. I'm going to do that by going over here to this screen, by going to the screen, what's labeled screen 4 here. And I'm going to open up a web browser there. Drag that over there. And I'm going to go to the Canvas login screen. And I'm going to make a screencast showing students how to log into Canvas, something they need to be able to do. One of those basic skills that everybody at the district needs. So I'm going to record that screen. I just click on it to select it. If I'm going to be playing a video, I click this Share System Audio so that the audio that comes through my speakers will also be recorded, but I'm not going to do that this time, so I'm going to not do that. So, and why is that? Let's see. Oh, because I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry, get too clever for my own good. I'm going to click on this screen. Then this little share button lights up. That share means record in this case. When I click that share button, it's going to start recording right away. So I have to be prepared, and I have to be prepared to work on this, on the screen 4 over here. It's going to record my voice and whatever happens on that computer screen. So I take a deep breath. Maybe I make an outline before I get started so I don't forget something. I've done this one a few times. I think I can get by with winging it, but that's not necessarily a good idea for producing the best videos. But hey, it'll work. Far better you wing it and you get a video out there for your students, even if you wander around a little bit, than if you don't do it at all. Your students will still appreciate it. It'll still work. They'll still learn something from it. And you got to get over the feeling that anything that you record, where you speak or you record video, has to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Perfect and video don't go together. No recorded video is ever perfect. Even feature films with casts of hundreds or thousands of people involved, and dozens of editors and all kind of people looking over everybody else's shoulder, and the director looking over everything. Even in that case, no feature film is ever completely perfect. They all have glitches in them. So your instructional screencasts are going to have glitches in them too. And you just have to get over that. Perfect, as a very wise man once told me, is the enemy of good. Good is good enough. Perfect is not achievable. And now I will climb down off my soapbox. That is one of my pet peeves about video, because it doesn't have to be perfect to be useful. And no matter how hard you try to make it perfect, it won't be anyway. Okay. Down boy. I'll be good, I promise. All right, so when I click this share button here, it's going to start recording. And since I told it to record my webcam as well, it's going to record that also. So I got to be a little cognizant of that. So I'll click share. Logging into Canvas at the San Diego Community College District. To log into Canvas, you first have to get to the Canvas login page on your computer. Open up a web browser and web to what you see right here, SDCCD period Instructure, INSTRUCTURE, the name of the company that makes Canvas, period com, sdccd.instructure.com, and press enter, and that will take you to the Canvas homepage, where you'll be prompted to log in using as your user ID your 10-digit PeopleSoft ID, your employee ID or your student ID, depending on your role at the district. You'll then be asked to enter your password, which will be set initially and will remain unless you change it to be your 10-digit, your 8-digit birth date. I can count that many, that many letters. 8-digit birth date, which is in the format month, day, year. It's got to be 8 characters. So if you have a single-digit month or a single-digit day of birth, you got to put a 0 in front of it. So if you were born on June the 1st, 1998, your password would be 06 for June, 01 for the 1st, and 1998 for the year, 8 characters. And then you click the login button and you're taken to your Canvas dashboard, from which you can access your Canvas courses by clicking on the colored squares, or tiles as they're called, that represent your current courses. All right, I've recorded that. I'm still recording it. There is over here, let's see if I can get this over where you can see it. Yeah, I can, I think. There we go. Staring at me the whole time was this little bar that said, you're recording, stop sharing when you're done. So I click that stop sharing button, and bada bing, it starts to play my recording. Community College District. To log into Canvas, you first have to get to the Canvas login page on your computer. All right. Open up a web browser. If that's good. Like you see right here. SDCCD. I can click save and edit. If it's absolute garbage, the name of the company that makes Canvas, and you really feel like you have to do it again, you can click retake and you just start over again from scratch. Press enter. And that will take you to. If it's okay, click save and edit, and bada bing, there you are. Your recording is now dropped into the Clipchamp editor. And don't redo it unless the wheels really came off. Just because maybe you get a little lost at one point, and you do that. We all do that when we're lecturing live, right? Oh, whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Just saying, oh, wait this out and start over from here. You have to do that in the classroom. Having your students don't think you're perfect anyway, and they're waiting for the crashes, just like watching NASCAR. everybody watches it for the crashes. Your students are waiting for those crashes anyway. It'll entertain them a little bit, and they won't really think any less of you. They already think little enough of me. So we're ready to go. At this point, if I were happy with that video, and I'm reasonably happy with that, I would just click export here. And I put it online and go on to the next one. If I really felt it was necessary, I could edit this. Notice it has put 2 long, thin rectangles here on what's called the timeline for the video. The far left is time 0, and the far right is the end of the video. I can get a quick look at what recorded by grabbing this vertical white bar with a little pentagon at the head, clicking on it and dragging it back and forth. And if I look at the preview window up there, I'll see that change as I move across. So that looks about right. I can also play this back. Let me share this screen so you can hear this better. Does somebody remind me I shared that screen when I need to get off of it. Okay, now if I play this, you'll be able to hear right here. SDCCD period Instructure. Here's INSTRUCTURE, the name of the company. And I can pause that. I can go somewhere else in video. That all looks pretty good. But remember, right at the end, I broke character. Yeah, I can, I think. There we go. Staring at me the whole time was this little bar that's, so this is information that I needed to share with you in this live session, but I don't want that in the recording. So I need to go back to where I was when I finished the presentation, as it were, that represent your current courses. Right there. Everything to the right of that on the timeline was information for you about using Clipchamp. It wasn't information about logging into Canvas. So I don't want that part of it. How do I get rid of it? Well, if this were a piece of film, how would you cut that out? You'd hold up the film, you'd take a pair of scissors and you'd cut it, right? Cut off the piece you don't want, and it ends up on the cutting room floor, as the old saying goes. It's cut out of the video, or out of the film in that case. We can do virtually the same thing with video. I can cut everything from this point in the video, represented by this white bar here and by the preview here, by going to this pair of scissors here in this little icon bar. I click on the pair of scissors, and that cuts these video clips into 2 sections. I'll talk in a minute about which clip is which, and why we have 2 clips instead of 1 in this case. But to get rid of those, all I have to do is select them, and by clicking on them, and press the delete key on the keyboard, and bada bing, they're gone. By the way, they're not actually removed from the raw recording. I've just told the Clipchamp editor not to use those when I export the edited project. So that's all there is to cutting something out. You just cut the video where you need to, delete those portions. And if you have to, you can move these videos back and forth on the timeline to, if you cut something out of the middle of the video, you're going to end up with a black space. You don't want that. So you pull the right-hand edges back into the middle until they match up, until they join up. So that's one little piece of editing you can do. I don't have time to show you the Clipchamp editor in detail here, but it is exceptionally easy to use, and there's a lot you can do with it. And we do a 2-hour session where we do nothing but Clipchamp, and we have recorded versions of that online already. But there I did a little bit of editing. I might or might not have had to do that. Usually, probably not. But once I've finished the edits, I just go up here to this big blue button labeled Export and click that. It asks me how high a quality video do you want? Well, you want the best one you can get, which with Clipchamp is so-called high definition, true high definition, or 1080p, which means there are 1080 pixels across the top, horizontally across the rectangle that contains the video. That's a very high quality video. Probably that's, unless you have a special account with Netflix, for instance, that's the best video quality you can get on a Netflix movie, which is pretty good. It's good enough for this, for sure. So I always select 1080p. Now, Clipchamp automatically starts exporting that video to my local hard drive in a process usually called rendering. It means it's squeezing the fat out of the video, boiling the fat out of the video, converting it into a form that's very, has the smallest possible file size, the lowest possible bandwidth requirements for streaming it across the internet. It's producing a video that you can put online and that your students can stream across the internet. So that'll take a moment. But that's not my only option here. It's going, as near as I can tell, it's going to do that anyway, whether I ask it to or not. But I have all sorts of other options down below that I can consider while the basic rendering is taking place. I have to kill a little time here because that's got to finish before I can move on. Down below here are all sorts of online locations where you can automatically upload this video and from which you can share it with your students. Notably, Google Drive. Most of us have a Google Drive account. If you use Gmail, you have one, whether you use it or not. Or if you use Google Docs, you have it. Maybe you're a lot cooler than I am and you use TikTok. You can also save it automatically and share it from OneDrive, which we all have now. It's the Microsoft cloud storage equivalent to Google Drive, only from Microsoft. We all have that now. You can send it, if you have a Dropbox account, you can send it there. You want to put it on Pinterest, you can put it there, or LinkedIn if it's something that's professionally related. So Clipchamp will do all of that, or any of that, automatically for you once this initial render finishes. You just have to wait on that. And how long that takes depends upon the speed of your computer and the length and complexity of the video and how much editing you did. This one's not going to take very long. We're already at 80%. What is 40 seconds? And it even keeps you entertained, telling you how long it's going to take, so you don't have to wonder. That's an estimate. You can't set your watch by it, but it'll probably more or less. And you sort of follow along over here on the right. It shows you where it is in the video. That's mainly an executive pacifier. It doesn't really accomplish a whole lot, but it keeps you convinced that it's doing the entire video. Almost there. Ya ta 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 bing. Okay, now it's saving it to the computer automatically. You don't have to click this button here to make that happen. I don't quite understand why that button's there. All right, but now if I want to also put this online, rather than having to go and find that video on my computer, I can just click upload to YouTube. I do have to be logged into my Google account, and I have to provide the video with a name. This is Canvas login video. What's the 10/17/2022? Just so I know which one that is. I can add a description other than this video was made with Clipchamp if I like. I get YouTube has video privacy of public, private, and unlisted. Generally, unlisted is the one you want. Means that you can share it with anyone, but you have to give them the link. And YouTube will provide you with the link. But people can't search for it. They can't stumble on it. Only people to whom you give the link will be able to watch the video. I can categorize it if I like. Let's see, education's one of the categories. It doesn't matter so much. And I have to answer the question, is it made for kids? By kids, they mean people with YouTube. When you're dealing with YouTube, that means people under 13. No, we don't have students under 13 for the most part. And if I check yes, I'm going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops, swearing I'm not using the video to sell sugared cereal to children or something equally nefarious. So I say, no, it's not made for kids. And then I click upload. And it proceeds to upload to YouTube. It didn't upload quite that fast. It's actually still uploading. So I don't want to close Clipchamp right now, but basically, as far as Clipchamp is concerned, I am done. I'm just going to leave that there. We'll go look for that in a minute on YouTube and see that, in fact, it is there. And I can copy the link to my clipboard. YouTube already knows what the link to that video is going to be, so I can copy that link so I can just access it that way in a minute or two here. But I'm not going to wait for that right now. I'm going to go instead to my next slide. Here we are back at PowerPoint. And yep, that's what you're seeing. We're going to talk about screencasting and another tool that you have access to for free, Canvas Studio. Canvas Studio has a screen recorder built into it, a screencasting tool, not unlike the one in Clipchamp, though quite frankly, it's a little bit more complicated and it doesn't really have any more capability, but it works. This is what it looks like, this black square here. We'll see it in a minute, or black rectangle, I guess that is. You do have to install it the first time you use it. Remember, with Clipchamp, there was no installation at all. It just worked through your web browser. With the Canvas Studio screen recorder, you have to go through an install process. It's mostly automatic, but it's not entirely trouble-free sometimes. You do, before you start recording, as you did with Clipchamp, have to select the right microphone, what you want to record, and optionally your webcam. The recorder in Canvas Studio also allows you to record your webcam. With Canvas Studio, you do have one capability that you don't have in Clipchamp, which is during the recording, you can pause. If you have a brain freeze, or you just get tired, or you start getting hoarse, you need a drink of water, you can pause the recording, take care of yourself, recenter your chi, and proceed, and then start up again without causing any glitches or anything in the recording. That's not true in Clipchamp. It is true in Zoom. I can always pause a Zoom recording as well. And like Clipchamp, the screen recorder in Canvas Studio also comes with a basic video editor. But the video editor in Canvas Studio is not nearly as easy to use nor as standard in its functionality as the one in Clipchamp. So if you think if you're fairly sure you're going to need to edit a video before you start it, I'd use Clipchamp. Even though Canvas Studio is provided to you at great expense by the district. The Canvas Studio is great for many other things other than just screencasting. And here's what the basic video editor in Canvas Studio looks like. We'll go and look at all this now. We'll do this live. Make sure, yeah, I'm doing okay on time. Canvas Studio, record. I'm going to use Canvas Studio to record the screen recorder in Canvas Studio to record a PowerPoint presentation. So remember, that was one of our screencast applications. So let me pull up Canvas, because I'll pull that back over here, because we access Canvas Studio through Canvas. I'm logged in here as a student. I'll stay that way because this illustrates the fact that the students have basically the same access to Canvas Studio that you do. So students can do everything I'm going to show you as well. To access Canvas Studio, you go through, it's not part of Canvas, but you have to go through Canvas to get to it. There's a link in the global access menu on the left-hand side of the screen here, the gray bar labeled Studio. That's Canvas Studio. You click that link, it takes you to your Canvas Studio library, which may or may not contain videos already. If it does, or whether it does or not, you have this record button up here in the upper right. And that is where you access your recorders, your creation tools, video creation tools in Canvas Studio. And it's quite similar to the options you had in Clipchamp. You can either record your screen or your webcam. Or in fact, if you choose to record your screen, you have the option to also record your webcam in the screen recorder. I click screen capture, I get this screen up. If this is the second or later time that I've tried to open the screen recorder in Canvas Studio, I get this dialog box here, and I just click where it says Open Screen Recorder Launcher. I deliberately didn't do that in this case because what you see, and I can't really get this out of the way, but you get a screen that, if you haven't used the screen recorder before, if this is your first time, you'll see this screen, which says underneath there, Download Screen Recorder. And you click the download button and you go through a little installation dialog. I've already done that. And generally, you don't want to do that more than once. So I'm going to cancel that. There's the screen as you would see it. It gives you the directions on how to proceed. I'm just going to cancel out of this. And I'm going to hit the record button again and select screen capture. And this time I'm going to click here where it says Open Screen Recorder Launcher. And if I haven't checked off Canvas Studio too much, I'm going to get my screen recorder come up. And that's interesting. You are seeing that now. That's good. Okay. Oh, because I'm still sharing that screen. Let me stop that. And now I'm going to reshare. Okay, so now you're seeing my screen. This gray sort of square here is your screen recorder. The stuff behind it is the stuff that you want to record. So the first thing you got to do is make sure with this screen recorder, it's best to make sure that you're on the screen or on the application or whatever that you want to record. So in this case, I am going to, let's see, what's the best way to do this? I am not sharing. Yes, I am sharing my screen. So I'm going to have to pull up on the screen I want to record. I'll just use this one over here. Let's see. Yes, you are seeing that. And I'm going to pull up I'm going to go to Google Drive. And I'm going to pull up no, I don't want any of that. Pull up a slides presentation, which is analogous to a PowerPoint presentation. Let's see. Let's search for that one. There we go. All right, this is a little sample PowerPoint I use, or it is in fact a PowerPoint presentation that's been loaded into Google Drive, and I'm accessing it from there. I'm going to record this. I'm going to bring that screen over onto my screen that I'm sharing here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and start the slideshow here. Oops. Actually, with this one, I need to start the recording first. I forgot, sorry. And then I can start the presentation. So in my screen recorder application here in Canvas Studio, I have the option, as I did with Clipchamp, to record the screen, the webcam, or both. I'm just going to record the screen this time because well, what the hell, I'll record both. And there I am down here in the lower right. And you can see a preview of the screen recording. For size, I strongly recommend, whoops, let's see, we're getting a little background noise. Let me take care of that. Okay, I muted everyone again, but you can unmute and ask a question at any time. All right, let me get that Zoom window out of there. So I'm going to record both my webcam, which is looking at me, and my screen. I strongly recommend for size you select full screen. That makes life a lot simpler. You also want to make sure that the screen recorder is hearing you, which is what those little green buttons or green bars popping up mean. If you don't see those, click the right arrow here, and once it finds the audio input sources that you have on your particular computer, you pick another one that's a working microphone. Mine is working okay, so I'm just going to leave that. If you're going to like play a video and you want to record the audio that comes out of your computer speakers, you would select that here. I'm just going to leave that off. That can cause some challenges. And once I've made those basic decisions and checked those basic functions, I have a little record button down here. The red button always means record in video, though this one additionally has the letters REC in it, so it's even easier to remember. To start the recording, I just click that button. It will count me down, so I know when the recording is going to start. Then I'm just going to go to slideshow and deliver my PowerPoint presentation. 5 tips for listening well. First bit of advice, be prepared, be mentally and physically ready. Prepare by getting as familiar with the topic of the presentation as possible beforehand, and try to avoid ending up lost and zoning out in 5 minutes. Oh, that's rude, but good advice. because you can't really listen well when your lips are flapping. You may need to speak up at appropriate times, but if you speak up all the time, people ignore you. So if you speak less, people are more likely to listen. And I have no idea about what an aura is. Sorry. Focus. Pay attention to what people are saying rather than making your grocery list in your mind. Don't try to work ahead. Don't try to anticipate where the presenter is going. Listen and focus on what they're currently saying. And try not to be defensive. And that's it. Okay, I can get out of that presentation. And now I see down here in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, that's been there all the time, this red circle with two vertical lines in it. That is a universal pause symbol in video. So if I click that, I've paused the recording. If I forgot something, or if, let's say I just wanted to pause between slides 2 and 3, I could have used that pause button at any time. And if I start the recording again, I'll pick up in the same place. Counts me down again. And now I'm recording just a little bit more. And I can do that as often as I like. And then pause again. When I'm done, that can make recording a screencast a lot easier than having to do it all in one take. So this is an important capability that you have in Zoom and in the Canvas Studio screen recorder, but not in the Clipchamp screen recorder for some reason. When you're finished with your recording, you have this little recorder bar here, and you click Done. And now you see a preview of your recording. You can play it to see if it looks okay. Recording is going to start. Then I'm if you feel the need, you can also edit this recording. That will drop you into a video editor, which looks quite a bit different than Clipchamp and is kind of non-standard, but it works. So you can edit this. I'm not going to take the time to show you how to do that because, quite frankly, if I were going to be doing a screencast that I was going to have to edit, I'd put it into Clipchamp or into another product we're going to talk about in a minute to edit. I wouldn't do it here. So I'm just going to say done. That gets me out of the editor. The only thing I have to do to put this online is give it a name. This is 5 tips for listening. And again, 10/17, 2022, just so I know which one this is. I can give it a more detailed description if I like. And then I just click upload. And this is going to upload it to Canvas, my Canvas Studio library. Where it will be processed into a form that Canvas Studio can use, and it will be available for sharing with your students. You'll also be able to caption it. Again, this process takes more or less time depending on the length of the video, how fast your computer is, and how complex the video is. This one, not so much. So it's going up, boom. And you hope for that message, upload successful. And then you just click continue. And let me get Google Drive out of the way here and bring up my, let's see. Oh, there's the other place. Bring up Canvas Studio. And here already in this case, in my Canvas Studio library, or in Rocky the Flying Squirrel's Canvas Studio library is this recording I've just made. I can view it. I can play it. Recording is going to start. Then I'm just going to go to slideshow, and I can caption it. Though one drawback to Canvas Studio, minor drawback, is that I have to ask for the captions. I have to beg, please, please give me captions. And so I click captions. I tell Canvas Studio that this was narrated in English. Note it will handle quite a few other languages as well. So that can be handy if you're teaching a foreign language. But in this case, it's narrated in English. And then I request the captions. Canvas Studio will create the captions automatically. You don't have to do anything. Then it will give you a chance to review, edit, and publish the captions if it did not get some of the words that you spoke.
Dave.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you upload that video clip to YouTube or save it to your computer?
Well, it's already the Canvas Studio. Yes.
Yes.
But in order to get this over onto YouTube, I'd have to download the video to my local computer before sending it to YouTube. I can't send it straight to YouTube. And to download it, I just click this little context menu button up here in the upper right-hand corner of the video window and select download.
Okay, thank you.
That will download it to my local computer, and then I can upload it to YouTube in the usual way. All right. So yes, you certainly can do that. It's just one more step. Let's see if there's anything in here that I don't want to have you to have to wait for those captions to finish. They take a little while. The Canvas Studio will send you an email when they're ready. But let's see if this one is captioned. And yeah, once you get an email that says, hey, your video is ready to go, you just need to review and publish the captions. You'll go back into the video and you'll click on the captions tab here and you'll see this button labeled review and publish. You click that, you will see the captions. You can listen to the video and read the captions and see if they appear to be accurate. All right, this is my Zoom studio in my office here in northern Idaho. Well, the first two captions were perfect. Occasionally, you may have to edit these captions. The question becomes, how long is the video? If the video is 5 or 10 minutes or less, you can reasonably go through the video and edit any errors in the captioning if you find any. If it's a 2-hour-long Zoom recording, you're not going to do that. You're just going to take the automatic captions, and they will be good enough in the vast majority of cases. Once you are satisfied with the captions, you click the Publish button, and the captions are now available to your viewers. And this video is online and ready to share. There are a variety of ways to share this video. Maybe the simplest one is just to go to this button here in the upper right and select the Share tab and create links. Click on the Links tab here and create public links. And here you have a direct hyperlink for this video, which you can put in you can link into an announcement in Canvas or into a Canvas page, or you put it in an email, send it to your students, or you can use the embed code to embed it into a page in Canvas where the video appears as looks like it's actually a part of the page rather than just a link. Either way, you can use those links to share the video. There are other ways to share a Canvas Studio video with your students in Canvas that we don't have time to go through right now. We do a 2-hour session just on Canvas Studio, but this will work. And that's the Canvas Studio screen recorder and your Canvas Studio library, how you caption a video in Canvas Studio, and how you can share it with your students. Let's go back to PowerPoint here. Let me kill that share. All right. Looks like this video the video we made in Clipchamp is finished uploading to YouTube. I can copy that link again. Here's the link. I can copy that to my clipboard. I can open up another tab in my browser here, paste that into my address line on the browser and press enter. And here is that video. Logging into Canvas at the San Diego Community. It's captioned. Unavailable. Oh, it hasn't finished with the captions yet. Sorry. That can take some time in YouTube. But they're going to be there. I've already got the symbol. I can share this video using the share links here. Here's the link to that video in YouTube. And I also get an embed code, just like with Canvas Studio if I want it. So that's how you share a video from YouTube, or what you need to share a video from YouTube. So that finishes up the process in Clipchamp. As we talked about a moment ago, you can also take a video right out of Canvas Studio. If you prefer to use YouTube for hosting, which YouTube does have some advantages over Canvas Studio, you can do that if you wish. Back to PowerPoint. So much for Canvas Studio. Only going to hit this very lightly because Open Broadcaster Studio is something you're probably not going to have right off the bat. But it's something that you can have for free. It is a software-based video studio. It has recording capability, as well as capability to use in Zoom. That's how I am appearing to you down in the lower right-hand corner of my PowerPoint slide here. I'm actually using OBS as a video source for Zoom. So I'm feeding video to Zoom, not from a simple camera, but from a variety of video sources using a software-based video studio, which allows you to do incredibly cool things, but which is a subject for another presentation, which I'm going to offer this again this month, toward the end of this month. It's on the schedule. If you are going to screencast using OBS, you also have to have at least 2 monitors on your computer. So if you don't have that, this is not going to be an option for you. Though it's very easy to acquire and connect a second or third monitor to your computer, be it a laptop or a desktop, be it a PC or a Mac. You can do that with pretty good ease, and it'll change your life. Your computer becomes so much more functional with a second or third monitor, usually just a second monitor, particularly when you're holding Zoom meetings and doing something a little bit out of the ordinary. Having multiple monitors really helps. And we have tutorials or professional development session recordings online showing how to do that in excruciating detail. So if you want to, and it's relatively inexpensive to do so these days. So if you want to do that and you're having some issues, let me know.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Please, go right ahead.
My Mac has a mission control where I have 6 different screens that are accessible on my laptop.
Multiple
on my
desktops,
desktop.
yeah. But those are virtual screens, not actual physical monitors.
Ah, okay. That was my question.
About actual physical displays. Though, do you have an iPad?
Yes.
You can use the iPad as a second monitor on your Mac with just a few mouse clicks.
Oh, good
Yeah.
to know.
So you already have a second monitor if you want to use it. Do you have a little case that will hold the iPad up so you can see it without you having to hold it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Would a
you're
would
set
a
up.
laptop and a desktop do the same?
Yes, any Mac. As a matter of fact, you can use an iPad as a second monitor on a Windows PC as well. It's a little bit more complicated, but not terribly. But on a Mac, it's very easy. You just use AirPlay. And the iPad becomes a second monitor. And you don't even have to hook it up. It works wirelessly as long as you have Wi-Fi.
Oh,
You don't
good
even
to
have to
know.
hook it up with a cable.
Thank
So
you.
you're set. And then you can do things like record in OBS. And once you record in OBS, you get a local video file, which you have to manually upload to Canvas Studio or YouTube, but that's a very easy process. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that right now because, again, that's something that requires you to have Open Broadcaster Studio. I strongly suggest that that is a very worthwhile thing to learn how to do. It takes about 2 hours to learn how to install, configure, and start using Open Broadcaster Studio. And I will be doing that. I should tell you when. Google Calendar. I will be doing that on the 28th of October, Friday, from 10 to noon. And you can learn to do this in 2 hours. But we don't have time to go into it in detail here. So I'm going to move on to my last PowerPoint slide here, which talks about screencasting with Camtasia. Okay, everything, all the screencasting tools we've talked about so far, including OBS, are free to you. OBS is free to everyone. So is Clipchamp. Zoom and Canvas Studio, you get free access to by virtue of being employees at the San Diego Community College District. The school pays for those. The school doesn't pay for Camtasia. And it's more expensive than any of them, unfortunately. But it is the top of the line. It is the Cadillac, the Lexus of screencasting tools. It don't get no better.
Dave,
Yes, go for it.
I think we used to have a number of licenses
That's possible.
to Camtasia in the district. I don't know if that has been removed or not.
Well, a number of individual departments and schools have purchased some Camtasia licenses. And you might inquire with your department head or your dean if they have any available.
Okay.
And that would certainly save you some money. I have to buy mine. I've been buying mine since 1998. But it's worth every penny. I'll tell you what it is. Well, no, let's not be coy. An educational license, which is a permanent license. It's not a subscription. You can use it indefinitely. But a permanent license, educational license for Camtasia right now costs $212, which is not, given what it will do, is not a lot of money. It will, you can download it and install it online and buy it online and have it to use in 10 or 15 minutes. There's no, you don't have to wait once you decide to spend the money. You just give TechSmith, the company that writes it, your credit card number, and it's yours. And you can install it and have it running in 15 minutes. It is the best in class, not only for screen recording, but especially for its video editor. That's the great advantage to Camtasia. It has the best semi-professional video editor that I know, both in terms of capability and in terms of ease of learning and ease of use. And that's not supposed to be possible. If something is easy to learn, it's supposed to be harder to use, and vice versa. TechSmith somehow avoids that with their products, especially with Camtasia. And this one, as I say, has been around since 1998. I've used every version since then. This is the, geez, I don't know, the 15th or 16th version of it in that time. And
But
it
save
is
your key.
tremendous. Yes.
But save your key, because like when one of my laptops died, I had to prove that I had owned it so that I could put it on a newer computer. So
Right.
it was hard to find.
Yeah, and you can find that if you've bought it from TechSmith online, you can
Yeah.
find that key fairly easily. But if not, it can be a bit of a challenge. You're right. So let's take a quick look at Camtasia. We've got about 10 minutes left. This is one I'm not going to spend as much time on because not as many people are going to spend $200. But I received a request just a few days ago for a Camtasia seminar, specifically on where I spend 2 hours showing you how to use both the screen recorder and the editor. And I'm going to do that. I don't have it scheduled yet. I'm working on my November schedule right now, but Camtasia will be in there. And it won't be Thanksgiving week. I know better than to offer classes during Thanksgiving week. So I will be going over this in much more detail fairly soon, but let's take a quick look at it. Camtasia is an application that you have to download and install. The process is quick and simple, but it does involve a little bit more work, say, than using Clipchamp, where you just web to it. Let's see, to bring that up, let me share this screen. If I can find my Zoom screen here. There we go. Let me share this monitor that's in front of me here. Okay, you're seeing that. I can go to my Windows Start button here, and I have Camtasia right there. This is an old Start menu, obviously. It took some doing to keep that on Windows 10, but I can run Camtasia 2022, which is current version, obviously, from my Start button in Windows. I can run it from a desktop icon on the Mac, or I can find it in the application folder on the Mac. Camtasia, there's a version of Camtasia for both a Windows PC and for the Mac, and they're very, very similar. So what you see here, if you're using a Mac, will basically be the same thing you'll see on a Mac. I just start that up. It's a big application. It takes a little while to run on even a fast computer. I get this opening screen here, where I have a variety of options, but the vast majority of time, what I'm going to do is start a new project. So I select that icon right there, and the Camtasia editor interface and editor and recording interface loads. This will look fairly similar to Clipchamp, because Clipchamp is also basically a video editor with recording capability built in. The two screens share a lot in common. We have a media bin here. We have a preview window. We have a timeline down here at the bottom where we see exactly where things happen in the video clips that we use. We have a bunch of task buttons or icons over here on the left. Again, it's very similar to Clipchamp. And we have this recorder button, which is in the upper left-hand corner on Camtasia. It was a little bit lower than that on Clipchamp, but same idea. Now Camtasia is built around a screen recorder. So that's your basic option. You just hit record and your Camtasia recorder comes up. Where did that show up? Oh, where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Took it a second. There's a lot of things going on this computer right now. All right, you see this little box right here is the Camtasia screen recorder. Okie dokie. And yes, I am sharing that screen. Good. And there are 4 boxes here that you have to deal with. The first box allows you to decide which screen you're going to, if you have multiple screens, which screen you're going to record. You just click the menu button here and you can pick among different screens. And when you click on the screen in question, it gives you it shows you what's on it right now.
Dave, is that just a feature on the new 2022? Because I don't think I have that on mine, which is an older.
This recorder changes a little bit from version to version. This is the absolute up-to-date version of it. Yeah, if you have an older version, it will look something like this, but it won't be identical. And it's easy enough to figure out. Yeah, I can also, if I don't want to record my screen at all, I can turn this off, back on. The next button allows me to decide whether I want to record my webcam along with my my screen. Let's see. Let me pick my. Oh shoot! It doesn't like that. It doesn't. OBS kind of takes things over here. I can use my OBS video here if I want to. All right. My OBS virtual camera, or not. I'm just going to turn that off. I'm just going to record my screen here, which is basically what Camtasia is intended for. Then this box deals with audio. Obviously, Camtasia is hearing me. I can adjust the volume on my microphone, or how loud the microphone sound is that's recorded by the microphone, by dragging and dropping that. But I don't want it to get to where I start seeing red at the end of that little bar. Yellow is okay, but red is a no-no. You'll get distortion, which will make it very hard to listen to. So I want to back that off a little bit. I should see a nice, I should be reaching about halfway over at least. And I can control then the input volume on my microphone. I can also choose to record the sound coming through my speakers if I wish. I don't need that here. So chances are, once you get this set, you probably won't have to adjust it most times. All you'll have to do is decide which screen, and if you only have one screen, you're going to record that screen, but decide which screen you want to record. And let me record screen 3. No, that's not the one I want. Which one is that? Sometimes you have to. That ain't it. That's the one I want. Just keep going till you get the right one. Then I need to bring up on that screen whatever I want to record. I'm going to bring up my Canvas Studio window that I had up earlier. Let's see, let me find that. That ain't it. There it is. And I'm going to pull that over onto my. So there I can see my Canvas Studio library. And that's where I want to start recording. What I want to start recording. I just pick whatever application, whatever PowerPoint presentation, whatever website I want to record. And I take a deep breath, think about what I want to do, maybe make an outline. Probably not write a script. That I've never been a fan of that. Your screencasts turn out too stilted, and people can tell you're reading from the script. it's a real yawner for somebody watching you. They'd rather you stumbled a little bit and sounded more real, like you were talking to them instead of reading something to them. So prepare, but don't over prepare for your screencast. Making an outline helps you avoid forgetting what you meant to record. And then just press the record button. Okay, now I'm sharing my screen that I'm recording with you. How do I know I'm recording? Well, there's a little, oh no, that's the Zoom recording indicator, sorry. This counted me down, and now whatever happens on this screen is being recorded. What I'm going to show you is how to upload a file to Canvas Studio if you've created it, say, a local Zoom recording or a local Clipchamp recording. You can get that into Canvas Studio by clicking the Add button in the upper right-hand corner and browsing for that file. Those are recent OBS recordings, but let me go to my videos folder here and my Clipchamp folder that contains videos that I've just recorded. There it is. Here's one I've just done. Let's see. I have that one that I did just a minute ago. I must not have named that one, so I'm just going to pick one at random here. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to click Open. The video proceeds to upload to Canvas Studio. It's apparently a fairly small one because it's uploading rapidly, which is good. You see the progress meter up here. Once the video has uploaded, you get a tile for it here in your Canvas Studio library, and it proceeds to process, and Canvas Studio proceeds to process the video. And just that fast, it's done. It was only 1 minute 30 seconds. I can view it. I can caption it in the same way we saw earlier, request the captions, and I can share it using the public links that I create using the link or the embed code, or there are other ways I can share it in Canvas as well. So that's all there is to uploading a video to Canvas Studio that you didn't necessarily create in Canvas Studio. Okay. Now I have this little, is that going to show you that? No, it's not. Even though I'm sharing that screen in Zoom, it's not going to show you. I have a little control bar for Canvas Studio that will not transmit because I don't want it accidentally showing up in a video. But it has, among other things on it, a pause button, which will allow me to pause the recording at any point if I need to take a break, or a stop button, a big square, which will allow me to stop the recording. So I'm going to stop the recording. And the recording is then dropped into the Camtasia video editor. I have a scrubber here that I can, just as I did in the Clipchamp editor, where I can work my way quickly through the video, or I can just drag this cursor back and forth, do the same thing. If I want to cut a piece out of the video, I can do it the same way I did it in the Clipchamp. I can just cut the clip. Oops, that wasn't what I meant to do. Sorry, wrong symbol. I have an undo button, thank God, under Edit, Undo. back to, here's the tool I wanted. Oops. The split tool. I can split that. I can cut this piece out. I can drag this back to the beginning. So it's easy to cut stuff out. I can add more video onto this timeline. I have just a virtual or veritable plethora of special effects I can use in this editor, far more than Clipchamp has. And quite frankly, this editor is even easier to use than Clipchamp once you've spent about half an hour with it. So it's a great tool. All I have to do to export that video is click the export button up here, and I can send it right to YouTube if I like, just as I could from Clipchamp. So this is a marvelous editor. It is a great recording tool, but the real strength of Camtasia is the editor. So that's why you'd spend the $200 for Camtasia. There's no better video editor that you or I are ever going to learn that you can acquire. And as video editors go, the cost is very low. As video editing programs go, the cost is quite low.
Mr. Dave.
Yes.
Are your classes on different time or mostly on Fridays or some
No,
other time?
I try to scatter them throughout the week. And by the way, that was the questions are, I'll answer questions as long as you have them, but the formal presentation, such as it is, and what there was of it, is done. So I know some of you are looking forward to a little TV or bed or whatever. So I'm at this point, I'm answering questions. But to answer that question about when I do these, I try to scatter them throughout the week, both morning, evening, and morning, afternoon, and evening. I try to do them at different times so people with different schedules have an opportunity. When it's not convenient for you to attend in person, I have, let me finish my PowerPoint presentation there and pull up a web browser over here. Let's see, you bet, Georgia, thanks for coming. I can pull up our on-demand, open on-demand site at sdccdolvid.org. That URL is in the address or in the signature of every email that I send out. So if you get this, you'll always be able to get here. And there is a button at the top, in the top menu bar, labeled Workshop Archives. And that's where you find these recordings. The most recent ones in the upper left. These are the recordings from our online summit, which took place last Thursday. And then they go back further in time. It takes me usually a few days to get these recordings online. It's a little bit of a process, but they'll all eventually be accessible from this page, including this recording that we're finishing up right now. So you can always watch these if you can't make the live one, and you're always welcome to ask me questions about it. And
if you have say 2 laptops or 2 computers on your desk, both of them should be connected somehow, or how do we?
Well, you might have 2 computers running at the same time. Are you talking about maybe using them in Zoom or?
Yeah, Zoom is probably.
Well, what I typically do, let me show you what I've got here. This is little OBS magic and a little pan tilt zoom camera that my wife is good enough to let me buy.
Yeah, it's a big office.
As my studio. And you see, I've got my big computer here that I'm sitting in front of, but I've got a laptop off to the right-hand side. I've got that laptop logged into the session, so I can look over there and I can see what you're seeing.
Okay.
So I have to ask, are you seeing that? Do you see my screen? And so on. I can look over there and I know what you're seeing. It helps keep me from screwing up. So that's one good way to use two computers in Zoom in the same room at the same time. Just be sure that one of them has all the audio muted. Both the microphone and the speakers have to be muted on one of the two computers if you have them in the same room. Otherwise, you'll get a feedback loop set up and it'll scream at you. It can actually damage your hearing if you
sure.
loud enough. So be sure that and the same is true if you can use a smartphone for that. You can put your smartphone into the session and look at it to see what's being shared and so on, or what your attendees are actually seeing. So that's one way to use two computing devices in the same room at the same time in a Zoom meeting. Another thing you can do is that if you have two Windows computers,
Right.
you can use one as a secondary monitor on the other wirelessly.
Okay.
So you can use a laptop as a second monitor for your desktop, or vice versa, if they're both running Windows 10. That's a trick, that takes a little doing, a little setup, but we have tutorials for that.
Okay.
So you can
Thank you very
also,
much.
I also have a Mac over here. Whoop. Here it is. It's not on right now, or it's not, but there's a little Mac Mini. So that can be useful if you have multiple types of computers at the same time. People have a question about a Macintosh. That Mac cost me $500. So you can get inexpensive Macintoshes. That's a Mac Mini. So yeah, there's lots of things you can do with more than one computer in the same room during a Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dave. That's great.
Great question.
Always learn something.
Dave,
Yes, ma'am.
I hope you have the Camtasia at a time that I can attend, because some of the ones I really want are when I'm teaching. But
Send me some suggestions. I haven't scheduled it yet for next month, not during the week of
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Thank you. I knew there was. Boy, let me tell you, it gets harder and harder to pull those words. Your words get more and more elusive over time. But yes, not during the week of Thanksgiving, simply because no one would come. But give me a couple of options.
Okay.
And I'm always open to suggestions and requests. I just put my email address in the chat in case you don't have it. I'm always happy to answer a question or take a suggestion. I'm always looking for new ideas or which sessions that I've already done to reschedule in a particular time. And I've gotten a couple of requests for Camtasia again tonight and one the other day. So I'm going to do that in November. Kathy, if you want to send me a couple of suggestions, I'll try to work with one of those. And if I can't use either one of them, we can go back and forth until I can find a time that will work for you.
Well, one of my questions was, I know once before you showed that you could add music, like if you're editing and you want to maybe start with music at the beginning or at the
Right.
end. And and I think it's in one of those, I don't know, was it in audio in Camtasia, but also I think you said something that maybe it's in Clipchamp. Did I say that right?
Yes, you can do it in Clipchamp as well.
But does it fade in and fade out, or is it just
You
solid?
can do that too.
Okay.
And here's what Kathy's talking about, an example of what Kathy's talking about.
I don't think you're sharing your screen.
Oh, I didn't share my screen. Crap. Sorry. Excuse me.
We're just kind of looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, I have the wrong camera selected. If I do this, you'll be able to see it. Better yet, I should use my Zoom share, which will also send you the audio in good shape. So let me do that. Let's share that screen. Okay, this is what Kathy was talking about. All the way back to the beginning. Come on. Did fade out.
Welcome everyone to our online summit 2022. It's great to see everyone today.
You can do that sort of thing in Camtasia. That's what I did that in Camtasia. You can do that sort of thing in Clipchamp, maybe not quite as slickly, but reasonably well.
But
And
there's like,
Clipchamp does
there's
have
music
some
that's,
audio tools as well, like fade in, fade out, noise reduction, and so on also.
but it's music that comes with it, or you have to bring your own.
No,
That's
in the case of Clipchamp, you have to bring your own.
okay.
And there are places online where you can get free copyright cleared music clips. Camtasia comes with a library of music clips that you can select among. A fairly limited library. There are probably a dozen and a half options, but usually one's good enough. But you can go online and you can find free music clips by the thousands.
Just
as well.
Google free music or copyright free music.
No, you just depends on the site. Google that. Yes, absolutely. Sorry.
Because I don't want to get a virus, because I've done that too.
Yeah, you got to be a little careful. Make sure your virus checker is running and up to date before you go to places like that. Let me pull up a window here. Window. Yeah, you're seeing that. See, I looked over to that laptop to be sure that you were seeing what I was showing you. And do free music online, free music download, whatever. Anything from adobe.com is not actually going to be free. It's royalty free, but here we go. Free music downloads from Jamendo. We can try that. Usually the top links in Google are relatively safe.
Oh,
Lots of people use them. Let's see, and we can play one here.
tantalizing youth.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's not real hot.
It's one that says tantalizing youth. Click that. Spelled in TU.
And there's hundreds or thousands of them on here.
Okay.
And a site that's pretty high up in the Google hit list is probably not going to be one that's spreading malware to everyone, or people would stop using it. So
Okay.
that's probably fairly safe, but make sure your virus checker is up to date before you go looking for things like this. Okay.
Okay. Could you click tantalizing youth? I just want to know what that is.
Oh, sure.
Too late.
Not at all. Tantalizing youth. Let's see.
It sounds tantalizing.
Little metal there. And there's more. Just gajillions of them.
But when you put it in, it will, like, you have something that helps you fade it in and out.
If you put it into Clipchamp or into Camtasia, yes.
Okay.
So these already appear to be fading in and at least fading in, or but you can do that in either Camtasia or Clipchamp. Camtasia works better.
Okay, well, maybe because mine's an older version, maybe I just didn't notice.
It's in the current version of Camtasia, it's under, let's see, more. There we go. Audio effects. And all you have to do is, if you want to fade in, is click on that box and drag it down onto the audio track, and it will automatically fade the audio track in. Clip champ.
Oh, it says fade in and fade out.
You
Okay.
get that into Canvas Studio, and then you can do a fade out the same way, and that will fade out the audio track down here. See, you can see the oh, that's right behind me. Sorry, let me get my serious self out of the way, or my blocking self out of the way. There's the fade out, and you can, you can make that more gradual or more steep and so on. So that's how you do it in the current version of Camtasia. It's been more or less like that for a while. So look for something labeled audio effects in your version.
Okay. Because you sold me mine, so that's how long ago it was.
Yeah, that's it's not.
I mean, not that you sold me, but you told me about it when you were teaching the class.
It probably, if the overall screen looks something like this, and you have this bar on the left, then probably there's something labeled audio effects in it. If not, just go to help and type audio effects, and it'll tell you how to access them in your version.
Okay.
Okay.
Like in the library?
No, the audio effects are not in the library. The library is where the audio itself is located.
Okay. I'm just taking, so I have library, call outs, zoom and pan, audio. So I guess it'll be in the audio.
Audio.
Okay.
It'll be in there. You should have both fade in, fade out, and noise reduction in there, and probably a couple other effects as well.
Okay. I'll have to check it later when I get a chance.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, just the two of us. Anything else?
Really? Just that quickly?
No, it is 8 o'clock.
Oh,
Prime time. Well, it's 8:30, 8:20, but that's fine for me. But it's the prime time shows have already started. So I'm competing with professional video, which is definitely not a fair competition. I am no pro.
well, I always have problems with the Camtasia with that red and that green for editing. So it's like when it cuts, so it's like the piece in between.
Right. Like if you want to cut a piece out, you just put the cursor at the the edit cursor at the beginning of what you want to, where you want to start the cut,
Right.
then grab the red ear and click and drag it out like so.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And then you've got a cut over here in the menu, a little pair of scissors, or you can just right click on the selection and cut it.
Okay.
And boom, that cut that piece out. If you decide that was a bad idea, you can undo it and get it back.
That's the best part.
Yeah. Oh, you can't edit without an undo function. That's because you have to try. There's a lot of trial and error in editing, especially error, until you get it the way you want it. So you have to have that undo button so you can go back to however many steps you need to and start again and try something else.
Because if you don't do it every day, you forget.
Clipchamp has an undo button as well. It's in a different place, but it's the same little symbol. The left swooshy arrow will give you undo in Clipchamp as well. And there's even an undo button in the Canvas Studio screen recorder editor.
Yeah, but it's kind of
no editor that's worth anything will be without an undo button.
Can I ask you a non-Camtasia editing question?
Of course.
Okay. I know you gave us a clip on how to do the Office 365, and I purchased mine before the school gave us our free one because I was just so
did I. I know the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was in a hurry to do something and I had something in PDF, and I know you can convert from PDF back to Word, but when I did it, it just garbled certain words, and it like
you can do it, but the conversion is not always perfect.
Okay, so it wasn't me. That's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is. Particularly if you didn't create, if the PDF wasn't created in Word to start with,
Right.
if you convert it back into Word, you may lose, there may be some imperfect conversion. And you have to clean that up in Word and then save it as a PDF again, export it as a PDF again.
Well, I'm pretty certain it was created in Word because I created it. And then it was PDF, but it was a different computer. It was like it was something from Windows 7 I needed to redo.
Probably a different version of Word,
Yeah.
an earlier version of Word, yeah. So that same caveat goes there. The conversion back into Word is not guaranteed to be perfect. Converting from Word to PDF will generally give you something that looks exactly like your Word document.
Okay.
But converting back from PDF to Word, particularly if the PDF was created in an earlier version of Word or a different Word,
It could have been WPS, which I think is WordPerfect.
Oh, yeah, it could have been WordPerfect.
Is that WordPerfect WPS?
Yeah.
Okay. That could have been it.
So, yeah, in that event, you'd expect some garbling or some imperfections, but you should be able to edit those in Word and fix them. But you
Okay.
can't be certain that it's going to work perfectly. The converting from PDF back to anything else with anything other than the full Adobe Acrobat can be problematic.
Okay.
Best bet, if you're converting a lot of PDFs back to Word and editing them, is to get a copy of the full Adobe Acrobat, not just the reader, but the full Adobe Acrobat program. But that's not, that's a couple $100. So it's about like Camtasia. So I don't have a copy of it.
I think the school gave me one, but it must not be the full one then.
Yeah, they may have given you the Adobe Acrobat Reader, which is free. Anybody can download that, install it. But Adobe Acrobat, period, is not free. I don't know. I saw it the other day. It was a little over, a subscription was a little over $100 a year, I think.
Yeah, it's too much for me.
Uh,
When
more
you do
I
the Camtasia, yeah. When you do the Camtasia, can you have like little sub points for people with older version? But how do I find out what version I have?
Go to help. Whoop.
Okay. Nope. Oh, it's not letting me do it while I'm on. So
Yeah, and it's giving me trouble because I'm let me.
I'm getting a boot sound. So
There we go. Now I'm on the right screen. Go to help.
yeah, it's not letting me open it right now while I'm
Yeah.
for some reason.
When
Will it
you're
be in help, I'll just write it down. Help.
About Camtasia.
Okay.
It'd be near the bottom of the help menu,
Yes.
and that will tell you what the version is.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not the 2000, so it might be the 1991.
Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think.
Because it was like 175 when I bought it, and it was like a sale.
Well, that's not that long ago then. It could be Camtasia 2000. It could be Camtasia 9. I think they used to number them with single digits. It was Camtasia 7, 8, 9.
Oh, 8. It's Camtasia 8.
Okay. Yeah. 8 was about.
You're right. It wasn't a year. It was a number 8.
Right. The Camtasia 8 was about the oldest one that had most of the features that modern Camtasia has in it.
Okay.
But it is quite different. I've still got a copy of it somewhere. If you have a question about something specific, I can probably reload it and pull it up and look at it.
Yeah, well, that's why I recognized when you said there was 4 windows. I said 4 windows. I don't have 4 windows.
No, not.
I know I've forgotten a lot, but I would have remembered 4
Camtasia 8
windows.
was the first one that had a lot of things. First one that had a compositing editor like what you have now. First one that had chroma key capability.
Yeah.
A lot of firsts in Camtasia 8 that have been continued through the rest of them, but the interface was a fair bit different than the current one. And I don't even remember exactly what it looked like, to tell you the truth. It's been a number of years since I bought that.
Okay.
But I think I still have a copy of it somewhere.
Well, I hope you have it like 6. Did you have a good, it looked like you had a pretty good turnout for 6 o'clock.
Not bad at all. We had about 10 people at one time or another. So
Yeah, I think I saw 12, but I think you were 2 of them. So
I was 2 of them. Yeah. I think we topped out at 10 people.
I mean, I got here as soon as I could, but
Thank you for coming. And we had some other people who had to leave earlier who started out. So with the total
not too many people teach in the
probably
evenings. now.
13 or 14. Hmm?
Yeah, they don't offer a
A
lot
lot
of
of
evening
people
classes.
teach in the evening or obviously have other things to do, but we try to give folks who are, like a lot of adjuncts have another job and they're working on that during the day, and the evening is at least possible for them. So we try to offer things at different times for different people, and always record so that people can always watch a recording if they need to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Dave.
My pleasure, Kathy. Thanks for coming once again and for having such good questions.
All right. And yeah, it's Camtasia 8, because I think I bought 7, but the very next month they had an 8 and they gave it to me.
Gave it to you for free. Yeah.
Yes, but I had to find the original letter.
Original key. And they weren't storing the keys on the website at that time quite as accessible
No, that's what was
as they
so
are
hard.
now. Yeah, now it's not a problem. You can just log into your TechSmith account and you can pull up every license you've had in the last 5 years or so. But Camtasia 8's older than that, unfortunately. So
Unfortunately, yeah, because they said, "Oh, just go in there," and like they tell you to put it in. And it's like, no, it's not popping up, and so it took like a couple of weeks, but they finally did find it.
what is the oldest one that they have on there? I wonder, because I've owned them all. Let me see here. We go to tech. That would be an easy way to find it. If it's still in my account, I can sign in.
I still get emails from them.
Yeah, they still know you're there, huh?
Yeah,
And under
but
my,
yet they couldn't immediately find my key, though.
yeah, it probably took them a while, but they're
I had to find
they're
it and then give it to
responsive.
them. Yeah, they were after I found it, though.
Yeah. Okay, let's see how far back this goes.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. That's what kind of popped up, and it was missing. Like
Oh, shoot. Looks like Camtasia 9 is the oldest one they had.
oh no.
Darn. But I've still got the
That's
install.
what, Snagit, yeah, and because my Snagit was there, but not the
Camtasia.
Camtasia. That's probably why it didn't pop up.
They're just too old. They weren't maintaining the product records online before Camtasia 9.
I gotta make more copies.
I think I can probably find the installer for it though. And while I probably have to install it as a trial version, because I'm sure I don't still have the install key anywhere, but I can probably find it and install it on another computer here in case you have a question about it. That's something specific. Okay, I'll look.
Yeah, they keep sending the things like, "Ooh, you can get the 2020."
Yes, it will keep saying that. And it will probably give you an upgrade price, which is quite a discount. I think it's just a little over $100 to upgrade it.
Yeah, but free is free.
Huh?
But free is free.
Yeah, exactly. You've already paid for it. That's free. And it still works. Camtasia 8 will still work with Windows 10. So,
but that reminds me, I need to make a copy and leave it on every computer and put it in a like safe or something.
Right. Write your make sure you have your install key and your installer program available in case you need to load it on a new computer.
And that's another question, because when I was looking in my email on my new computer, like this one is like barely a year.
Right.
And it only goes back as far as when I purchased it. I had to go to my Windows 7, which still works, basically real slow though, in order to find a key. Why is that? Or is it something I'm not doing?
The,
Like when I check my email, which is my same email account,
right.
the
Your
new computer
district-
only goes back to the first day.
your district email account.
No, I'm talking about my personal one.
Oh, your personal email account.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be. You should be able to access, was it Gmail or Yahoo?
No, it's Spectrum.
Spectrum. Oh, yeah. Yes, the email provided by your ISP would only go back to the point where you first logged that computer into it in all probability. So
So even though same account,
yeah,
different
and they
computer.
may not well, if
Maybe it's something I need to install?
webmail, it should still be there. That's interesting. It may be that Spectrum at that time was using what they call a POP email, which actually downloads the email to your local computer before you view it. And
The
then
word pop does sound familiar.
POP3. You may have had that kind of email account with Spectrum, where the email before you view it is actually downloaded to your computer and then it's wiped off the server, so it doesn't show anymore. So that's what I'm suspecting. You want to get off that email account if you possibly can, and pick up a web-based email like Gmail or Yahoo or Outlook.com or any one of the free email services that will store your messages indefinitely. Basically, I've got Yahoo email messages going back 12 years. And Yahoo never wipes them off, and they never complain about how much storage I'm using or anything like that. No, neither will Google with Gmail. But those ISP provided accounts can have all sorts of limitations associated with them. Notably, it's a POP server, not a cloud email system. So those emails have been downloaded to your computer. So as long as your computer is running, you can get it to boot up, you can get to them, but that's the only place they exist.
So I need to email it to myself again so it'll show up on the newer one.
If it's something critical, I'd email it to myself at Yahoo or Gmail or Outlook.com or iCloud. If you're
I get the Spectrum email free, so because I have their cable and everything.
Well, yeah, but so's Gmail, so's Yahoo, completely.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave.
And those, if you email it to yourself there, it'll be there indefinitely unless you choose to delete it. Spectrum, it won't. It'll only be there as long as you have the computer that was downloaded to.
And it did take like almost an hour for it to.
That is antediluvian email technology. You want to get off of that, or you're going to lose stuff. And anything you really want to keep, I'd send to myself at my new cloud-based email account, and then it will stay there indefinitely.
And how do I download this stuff too? Because I know there's like a JCount. I remember we used to do that all the time back in the day. And
Download what?
There's like a J or G drive. Where is that the cloud one that you're talking about? The campus?
If you are physically on the campus.
Okay, it only works when I'm on campus.
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's
I don't know if they've continued that or not since Office 365 has come in, because everybody, you included, have a terabyte of storage in OneDrive. And I would guess they're probably using that. If they're not already, if they haven't just eliminated the G drive and moved everybody over to OneDrive cloud storage, they certainly will at some point.
in that video that you created. Do they explain that? Because I noticed something that was on OneDrive and I noticed something that was on the G drive, but I didn't know how I got it there.
I did a OneDrive session just a few days ago. That one's not online yet.
Okay.
I've got
Oh, so it's not the Office 365 one. It's a separate.
The Office 365 one gives you some of the information about OneDrive, but I did a 2-hour thing just on OneDrive just the other day, and I'm working on getting that online. It should be there in another day or two. So just look in the workshop archives and you'll find it. And that will show you how to move stuff into OneDrive, how to find it, how to get into OneDrive, all of that stuff, how to use it with Office 365 and other things. You can use that storage with anything. And there's 1,000 gigabytes in there. That's enough to. And the only thing I wouldn't put in there in large quantity is video, because you can use up a terabyte storing video files.
And it's only for school stuff, not your personal stuff.
That's right. That's right. But you said you signed up for the, you bought Office 365 personal.
Yeah, but it seems that
That also comes with a separate terabyte of storage on one.
Well, I keep getting emails saying that it's almost full, and I don't remember syncing anything.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I don't know what
It
happened.
may have been set up to sync automatically. Actually, OneDrive syncs with your computer's hard drive automatically, unless you tell it not to. So that's probably what's happening. But still, I wouldn't have expected it to fill up a terabyte that soon. So there may be something going on there.
Yeah, they want me to buy more. And it's like, I don't even know if how it got full this time.
If you buy access, the basic subscription to Office 365, personal subscription, comes with a terabyte of OneDrive storage. I don't think you can buy any less.
And I have an external drive for like the films of my students. So
That's a good idea. That's a good thing to do with video. Your OneDrive, though, if you use it for documents and PowerPoint presentations, things like that, not to put too grim a take on it, but you won't live long enough to fill up a terabyte. That's an awesome amount of storage. Unless you're talking about video. Video chews up immense amount of storage, but anything else is going to be relative, 1,000 gigabytes, and a gigabyte is 1,000 megabytes. So 1,000 megabytes is a terabyte. That's a lot of storage.
all right. Well, anyway, I better get some of this knowledge put together.
Well, good
And I
luck.
hope you have this Camtasia at 6:00, because I know I can make 6:00.
Send me a couple of, I'm serious, send me a couple of, I haven't scheduled it yet.
Because some Fridays I
They
have
who
meetings.
ask first gets.
All right, I'll send it in. Thanks, Dave.
Take care.
All right.
Talk to you later, Kathy. Bye-bye.
Bye.